I'm Matthew Bennett. I went out and interviewed 13 people on happiness and success and their views. The results I got definitely varied. So check it out in this video coming up next. Define success in your own terms.
It's tough. People have different ways to measure success. I mean, obviously you want to hear about mine, but it's tough to sometimes put your own values first because you really feel acceptance when you see how other people view you. Just society has defined this term of success that they're trying to make us all want to reach, and maybe that's just not what success really should be. But you feel you've had success because everybody else around you is happy for you. And maybe you might not have found that success, but you found, you've finally done something that's made other people think that you've had success. So for me, success is just being happy, and just kind of, living by my own terms rather than, being happy when other people are happy, because they'll just be happy because they think I've reached what success should be. So, just being happy.
Gotcha. Define happiness in your own terms.
Good segue. It's just, I don't know, not having a stressful life, really. What can stress really make you very happy? I think non-stress and, at least dealing with the stuff that makes, that's supposed to be stressful, dealing with a cool, collected pattern that, blows it off. So, I think it's no stress and, just being happy with where you are and, the comfort of your life.
Sounds good. Third question is define unsuccessfulness in your own terms.
I think unsuccessfulness is not using all your talent to its potential. There's a lot of people who are put on this planet for many different reasons, and I think unsuccess would be those who just don't use their gift that they were put on this planet for. It's just a shame to see that happen. It's a complete waste of talent go down the drain. So throughout life you should evaluate what you're good at, and focus on that in college and focus on that after college. And I think my life would be a whole lot better if I'd realized that before, rather than just realize it right now.
Definitely. Number 4 is define unhappiness in your own terms.
I think it's when you realize that you haven't reached your potential. I don't want to sound like one of those people who puts together these motivational videos, on how to be successful and how to not be a failure. But really, I ran for Coach Newton in high school, and his one of his Newtonisms, I guess, was you can bullshit your friends, you can bullshit your family, but you can't bullshit yourself. That type of thing is truly being unsuccessful is, you can lie to others, but you really know what you're good at, and not achieving that potential, that'd just be kind of an unsuccessfulness on a personal level.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right, and the final question for Mr. Scott Kyler. What do you believe are the similarities that go along with happiness and success and unhappiness and unsuccessfulness, basically, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
So
that's a pretty good question.
It's kind of deep.
I think you truly can't achieve happiness until you've reached success. And that's, like I mentioned, kind of what society puts forth for you and, what you should put forth for yourself. I think happiness and success, is linked not only if you're feeling successful or, other people believe you're successful. So really, you can't fulfill happiness without achieving success first.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and in that regard, unsuccessfulness and unhappiness, I think you could probably link, let me see here, you could probably link successfulness with unhappiness, you can find similarities in that more than you can always find similarities in unsuccessfulness and unhappiness. You know, because sometimes you might be successful, but you also might be unhappy. You know, I think that, you know, I'm not going to be happy until I've achieved success, but I'm sure there's people out there who believe the exact opposite.
Sure.
You know, that they're successful, but they're unhappy. And I
Sure.
think that's honestly, there's so much out of that because they've worked so hard in their life to reach success, and when they get to that level, they realize that they're no different than they were before. Because you've achieved society's standards of success, but then you look at it, you haven't even reached your own. So, you know, I think defining values and defining, you know, some clear goals for yourself are a lot better than, you know, everybody making goals for you.
Sure. Definitely. All right, Mr. Scott Kyler, thank you very much for taking time out of your evening to answer these 5 questions. Eventually you'll see this in a documentary.
All right, hope I can help.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Here in the second half, and as you look at the
Okay, I'm just going to ask you 5 questions about success and happiness.
Okay.
Question 1, define success in your own terms.
I would say success is like achieving your goals while achieving happiness at the same time. So like, as long as your goals make you happy and then you achieve them, you're a successful person.
Very good. Number 2, define happiness in your own terms.
Yeah, plot thickens. I would say happiness is anything that you find in, like, anything that you enjoy or that, you know, causes you to have a good time. So like, happiness is an enjoyable entity.
Very good. Okay, question number 3, define unsuccessfulness in your own terms.
Unsuccessfulness would be like overall unpleased with your life, just you know, or I guess unsuccessfulness in any field would be something where you're just unpleased with the progress you've made, or you didn't make enough progress where you feel that you've met your own expectations or someone else's.
Very good. Number 4 is define unhappiness in your own terms.
I would say unhappiness would be like when you're no longer enjoying yourself, having a good time. You just don't really feel like whatever you're doing at that moment is worth it because it's just not, I don't know, it's just not worth your time because you don't enjoy it. Or you don't think it'll amount to anything. So that would make someone unhappy.
All right. And the 5th and final question, do you believe there's kind of a correlation between, you could either pick one or the other or both, but success and happiness or unsuccessfulness and unhappiness? I mean, you can go whichever way you want, or you can go both, whichever you feel strongest about.
I would say you can be unsuccessful and still be happy, but you can't be unhappy and still be successful. So you have to be, if you're a successful person, you're probably going to be a happy person. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the biggest connection, because in order to be successful, you have to be happy. But like, if you don't succeed in something, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be unhappy. While when you do succeed, you'll be happy, because in order to succeed, you need to be happy.
Gotcha.
You need to like have made yourself happy in order to be successful, by my definition.
All right. Well, thank you, Peter Bennett.
Yes.
This will later be used in a documentary on success and happiness.
Okay.
Bye now.
I know.
Okay. I'm going to ask you 5 questions that deal with happiness and success. It will not be that painful, I promise. So here we go. Question 1 is define success in your own terms.
Well, success is anything that you feel like you're happy in. You set a goal and you accomplish it, that's success.
Sounds good. Question 2, define happiness in your own terms.
Happiness is anything that you feel that you did well at. If you accomplish something, you're happy.
Sounds good. It's all good.
You can't use the word that you're describing the definition, but okay.
It's okay. I'm just looking for answers here. Define unsuccessfulness in your own terms.
Any unreached problems, goals, anything not solved in your life.
Fair enough. Define unhappiness in your own terms is question 4.
Unhappiness is being miserable, not doing anything, being a lazy bum, going nowhere in your life.
Cool.
Hating it.
And question 5 is, do you think basically like what I'm saying is there a correlation between success and happiness? And you can either pick one or pick the other or do both, but like a correlation between success and happiness or unsuccessfulness and unhappiness.
What is correlation?
Like, is there like a link between...
Between?
Yeah, like, is there a link between happiness and success, or a link between unsuccessfulness and unhappiness? And you can either answer one or the other, or both, if you so desire.
Yeah, there definitely is, because if you feel that you don't succeed, you're not going to be happy. And if you don't succeed, you're definitely not going to be happy. If you have nothing to live for, why are you living?
Right.
That's all.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Ms. Kaylee Foreman. This will later be used in a documentary on success and happiness.
Sweet.
Have a good evening.
This is my cat, Bobby Jenks. Bobby Jenks is actually a girl cat, but we didn't know that when we named her.
I'm going to ask you 5 questions about happiness and success. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. Question 1. Define success in your own terms.
Success has different meanings to me at different times in my life. Sometimes success is doing a good job in my career, my professional life. Sometimes success is being happy and content with my personal life. It means different things at different times, depending on what my current goals and needs are.
Sounds good. Question 2. Define happiness in your own terms.
Happiness is something that everyone can achieve if they truly want it and look for it. Some days I can find happiness in volunteering at the zoo by giving back to the community. Some days, no matter what I do, I'm not happy at all. Some days I'm happy just to make it through the day, get home from work, relax, watch TV on the couch. Other days when I can complete 18 tasks or challenges, that makes me happy. So I really think it all depends on the day and where I am in that state of mind. I think that is a really, happiness is such a broad term, and it means different things for different people. Some people would think that if they got married and had 3 kids and got a great job, that would provide happiness. For other people can have all the fame and fortune in the world and they're still not happy. So I think, happiness means something different for everyone, and I think as a personal goal, it's important to realize what makes you happy and just try and do your best to get it.
Sounds good. Question 3 is define unsuccessfulness in your own terms.
To me, being unsuccessful is not living up to my full potential and not doing a good job at something, whether it be personally or professionally. Again, you know, I try not to look at things as being unsuccessful, because everything you do, whether it be right or wrong, you can learn from. You can learn from your mistakes, and that's how you need to look at things, and not punish yourself. I think the word unsuccessful has really negative connotations, and if you start thinking that way, it starts the negative thought, you know, spiraling.
Sounds good. Let's see. Number 4 is define unhappiness in your own terms.
Unhappiness. Unhappiness is not being happy. No, unhappiness is when I feel miserable, when I can't seem to get anything going, being moody, not getting what I want, what I need from the people around me. I think I make myself the most unhappy by setting unreal expectations, and I try and concentrate on that so that doesn't happen. I don't want to spend my life unhappy and miserable, and I try and do the best things I can by surrounding myself with people who I think are positive, by doing positive things, so I don't end up like those unhappy people.
Good deal. Question number 5 is basically, do you believe there's a correlation, and you can either pick one or the other or do both, but a correlation between success and happiness, and a correlation between unsuccessfulness and unhappiness?
Well, I don't think there needs to be. I think it's the way society works. We have different views of what successfulness is, and if you don't fit into that mold, then you should be unhappy. For someone who is my age, they should be married, they should have kids, you know, a house in the suburbs with, you know, a dog and a cat. And I think if you're looked upon by not having those things, you're unsuccessful and therefore you're unhappy. I think, I know as I get older, I don't look for those things to stereotype, the stereotypes of what successfulness is, and therefore I'm more happy with what I have. I'm creating my own success, living the life I want to live, and therefore being happy with it. I constantly have to remind myself that it's okay to not do things the way everybody wants to, or the way everybody should see it, but as long as I am content with that, then that's fine, and I really don't care what society thinks. I don't think you can be truly... I think if you are unsuccessful with, say, your career, you can still have happiness in other parts of your life. I think if you view yourself as unsuccessful and being miserable and sticking with that negative stereotype, then I think you will become unhappy. But I think you can find success in any little thing that you do or try to do. It doesn't have to be just professional, it could be personal. And I think then that will lead you to happiness.
All right. Thank you, Kristen Lee Sohacki, for answering these 5 questions. This will later be used in a documentary on success and happiness. Have a good evening. Define success in your own terms.
I'd say success is when you achieved your goals and also made some sort of a living for yourself.
Okay, that's cool.
all I got.
No, that's cool. Question number 2, define happiness in your own terms.
Happiness is when you are satisfied with your life. And you don't have to be like completely satisfied, but at least somewhat satisfied with your life.
All right.
I don't even know.
No, that's cool. That's all good. Question number 3 is define unsuccessfulness in your own terms.
Unsuccessful is when you fail, but you don't try again, and you just accept it. So,
Okay.
that's it.
Very good. Number 4, define unhappiness in your own terms.
Unhappiness is when you're doing something you completely don't want to, and like you know it, but you don't do anything about it.
All right. And the 5th question, it's kind of worded confusing, so I'm going to make it a little easier, but basically what I'm asking is, do you believe there's like a correlation between success and happiness? And you can either answer one or the other or both, whatever you want to do. But either is there a correlation between success and happiness and then unsuccessfulness and unhappiness? And you can either pick one or the other, or you can do both.
I don't think there's necessarily a correlation between success and happiness, because you could be really happy, but you could be unsuccessful. Because some people are satisfied with just not doing anything. So I think that there is really no correlation. I mean, oftentimes, like, the majority of the people will be happy if they're successful, but maybe that's not really their true happiness. They just make themselves think it is.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Katie Bennett. These 5 questions you answered will be used in a documentary about success and happiness. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
Question 1. Define success in your own terms.
Success is being happy with what you do in life, and waking up and being happy, I think. And the biggest thing is that just knowing what you're going to do during the day is what you want to do, and that you're successful doing. Whether you're successful or not, that doesn't matter. But I think just doing what you're doing, being happy with what you do.
Okay, sounds good. No, that's good. Question 2. Define happiness in your own terms.
Isn't that question 1?
Yeah, but it's happiness and success can be 2 different things.
Okay.
So, but that could be your answer if that's what you.
No. Define happiness in my own terms.
Yes.
To me, being happy is being with someone you care about. And it kind of goes back to my first question. I think it's great to wake up knowing that you're in a good spot in your life. Whether it's you have a good job, or you have a good girl, or you're just at the point in your life you successfully had fun from the time, from whatever goals you've set out up to that point.
Sweet. Sounds good.
Yeah, that's what I got.
All right, question 3. Define unsuccessfulness in your own terms.
Unsuccessful in your own terms. It's pretty much, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I think if you set out to do something and if you tried to do it and you still weren't successful, that still to me is a success because you tried. But if you don't try, that's unsuccessful. You gotta at least get out and try it. Whether you fail or not, that to me is being unsuccessful, not trying.
Okay.
I'm babbling, man.
It's all good. 2 more.
Brother. All right.
Little Hulk action there. Question 4. Define unhappiness in your own terms.
Unhappiness. It's just another word for being sad, I would think. So, man, these questions can get.
I know they're kind of repetitive. Actually,
No. That makes you rethink what you said before.
Right.
I think you're unhappy if you don't. Shit, that's a good question. Being unhappy is not being where you want to be. I'm going to sound like a broken record. Not finishing, or not. Oh shit, this sucks. I'm gonna gotta repeat what I said on the last one. So
it's all good.
Being unhappy is just not having a successful life and not being happy when you wake up. That sounds so bad because I normally don't talk like this, but it's the truth. I'm gonna kind of pass on that one. It's
Okay.
not repetitive to what I said.
That's cool. That's cool. No, that's all good. And then the 5th question, basically what I'm asking is, do you believe there's a correlation between happiness and successfulness? And you can either take one or you can do both. Or is there a correlation between unsuccessfulness and unhappiness?
Like a connection?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
You can be, I don't think so. You can be happy and not successful, I think. You know, I mean, like I said, it all depends on where you are in your life and how happy you are with what you're doing. If you're happy with what you're doing but you're not successful, I mean, to me, that's still a win for you if you're comfortable with where you are in life. And then, like, the second part of the question, can you repeat it just so I can hear it again?
Yeah. Well, I mean, either like the two choices, like, or you can do both, are basically like a connection between successfulness and happiness, and then a connection between unsuccessfulness and unhappiness.
Well, I mean, negativity can breed, I think. Like, if you are unsuccessful, you can become unhappy, and then it can just kind of roll down effect. I used to not believe in that, but I think I've kind of been witness to it with a lot of people lately. So I do believe, you know, being happy, creates successfulness, creates positivity. As funny as that sounds, because I'm usually as negative as it gets. But I have to admit, though, when I think of the whole thing, I don't think they correlate, because you can be happy and be unsuccessful to where they don't always necessarily go together. That's what I'm going to stick with.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Mr. John Conger.
No
this
problem,
will
man.
be used in a documentary with success and happiness in the near future.
Forever, baby.
He's gonna fly out your face, don't worry.
I can't feel my legs! Holy shit! I can't feel my legs! Wait, best part! Best part!
Is that what you call a victim?
Diamond upside down, this is pussy!
They're all gonna
Is there a tower?
Christopher, get ready to see me. Ready? Chris is hanging out so bad.
Chris!
Hey, Chris, you wanna go hang out for a while?
Hang out with your wang out!
Let's hang out. Get away.
Hey, can you push your cups together?
You got away.
Just slide away the wall.
What are you doing? Are you fucking kidding me?
Let's talk about it! What's up, dude? My name is Bam Bam! Bam Bam! Where's my cup?
Yeah, you need your clown.
This is Chris Angel. Mind free. Mind free. Mind free.
Right now, I'm gonna...
Watch his hands. See that catch? You see it? I saw the bounce.
I saw that catch back here. After she already would have bounced it in.
That's what she said.
Do some tricks.
All day, baby!
The head is gone. The head is gone.
Whoa.
Hey,
Put that out later!
why are there so many people around me right now? Let me shine. Interference. Don't do that.
Interference my ass! All the fucking...
Get them away from me.
Hey, Jason!
Start throwing bows.
Start throwing bows! Hey, start throwing bows!
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Hey, Tim, mutiny. Mutiny.
Hey, brand new.
Yeah. Mutiny. New choice.
Fuck you!
Hit that shit like you hit it last week. That's what she said.
Tim Jacobs.
Thank you.
TIMJACOBS.
Thank you. Tim Jacobs. Define success in your own terms.
Success, in my own terms, is truly being happy with what you have, what you feel like, and your life as a whole.
Cool. Number 2 is define happiness in your own terms.
Happiness is achieving all the goals that you want to achieve and being able to do things that you never thought you could do before.
Awesome. Number 3 is define unsuccessfulness in your own terms.
I feel like being unsuccessful is when you get bogged down with negative thoughts and negative ideas and being stuck in a place that you don't want to be and not being able to achieve the things that you want to achieve, not being able to, how do I say it? Not being able to accomplish what you want to accomplish due to other things.
Cool.
Stuff.
That's all good. Cool. Number 4 is define unhappiness in your own terms.
I feel like unhappiness is like an emptiness, like a hole, like a void in your life that you need to fill.
Fill it with Jesus.
Not being able to
That's awesome.
fill it with Jesus. Not being able to fill that void in your life and just feeling empty and feeling like you don't have control of your own life.
Okay. And number 5, this is the only complicated question. Basically, do you think there's like a correlation or like a...
He doesn't know what correlation means.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I think he does. He's pretty smart.
Fallacy.
Do you think there's a correlation between success and happiness, and you can either choose one or the other, or unsuccessfulness and unhappiness? You can either do both, or you can do one or the other.
I feel like success and I feel like happiness is what you make it. So you can be unsuccessful and happy just by thinking positive and just by appreciating what you have. But you can also be successful and happy by appreciating what you're given and how you live your life and things like that. But you can also be unhappy but successful by living a decent life, being like the president or CEO of a company, but also not being able to have the things that actually fulfill your life, like a family, like being able to go on vacation, the trips you wanted to do, and just working all the time. So there's definitely no correlation between happiness and success, and there's no correlation between unhappiness and unsuccessful.
Great. Thank you, Tim Jacobs.
You're very welcome.
This is going to be used in a documentary on success and happiness in the near future. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Please state your name.
Ashley Kruchak.
Okay. Question number 1 is what defines success in your own terms?
Success is anything that I've ever reached for and can accomplish.
Okay. Question number 2 is define happiness in your own terms.
Happiness is anything that fulfills my life and makes me honestly in a positive and good mood.
Okay. Define unsuccessfulness in your own terms.
Unsuccessful. Honestly, I don't believe there's such a thing. I think there's things in life like when my parents call me lazy. Well, what do I become? I become lazy. I don't believe there's anything that's unsuccessful in anyone's life except for them giving up and no longer trying.
Okay. No, that's great. Define unhappiness in your own terms.
Again, happiness is your own decision. If you want it, you go for it. And if you don't go for it, then then you're unhappy. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. It's your own fucking decision.
Okay.
And I don't want to swear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is.
Oh, solid.
I'm a radical documentarist,
Yeah, no.
so no problem.
No, seriously, like, if you want to be unhappy, then you will be unhappy. Like,
Okay.
Yes, go on. Next
All right.
question.
And the last question is, and you can choose or you can do both.
Yes.
But do you believe there's a correlation between success and happiness, or unsuccessfulness and unhappiness?
Okay. Honestly, I'm a huge believer in what you want, you get, so long as you go for it. So if you want to be happy and successful, then that's what you'll be. If you want to be unhappy and unsuccessful, that's what you will get. Whatever you want, you are delivered. And so if you want to be happy and successful, just do it.
Okay.
That's what she said.
No, that's great. Okay, Ashley, I'm sorry, what's your last name?
Ashley Kruchak.
Kruchak. All right, Ashley Kruchak, thank you very much. This will be used in a documentary on success and happiness.
I do not approve.
I appreciate your time. Thank you. Okay. The first question is define success in your own terms.
Success. Let me see. I think success is happiness, you know. Fulfillment. And let me see what else. I find success in believing in yourself.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. All right, number 2, and these might sound a little repetitious, but it's the way it goes. Define happiness in your own terms.
Happiness is, let me see. Hello?
The second question is define happiness in your own terms.
Okay. Happiness is peace within yourself.
Okay.
Happiness is family. Happiness to me is let me see, man. I think finding a partner that you can share your same beliefs, thoughts, and that would be it for me.
Okay, sounds good. Number 3 is define unsuccessfulness in your own terms.
Laziness.
Okay.
I think when you're lazy, you know, you will not find not motivated. I think, I think those two are probably the main that I feel.
Sounds good. Number 4, define unhappiness in your own terms.
Unhappiness?
Mm-hmm.
Sad. You know, when a person is sad all the time. Not pleasing to oneself. You know, you don't please yourself, so that's unhappiness.
Okay.
Not finding your goal. You know, not having a goal. And that's about it.
Okay. And the last question is basically, do you think there's a connection, and you can either answer one or both, but do you think there's a connection between successfulness and happiness, or unsuccessfulness and unhappiness, basically? Like, a connection between, you know...
Those two?
Exactly.
The latter. What did you say?
Unsuccessfulness and unhappiness, or success and happiness, basically. Like a connection between success and happiness, or a connection between unsuccessfulness.
Without a doubt, there's a connection between success and happiness.
Gotcha.
Because when when you succeed, of course you're going to be happy within yourself, no matter what it is. It could be a ditch digger, and if you're happy doing that, well, you're going to succeed in that. You're going to do well.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Susie, for being part of this documentary on happiness and success. And
come back when I'm 50 pounds lighter, will you?
No problem.
Michael Machas.
Question number 1. Define success in your own terms.
Success. Success is being happy. Success is being able to do what you need to do to be happy. Does that make sense? Yeah, I guess.
No, it does.
Yeah.
And some of these might seem a little repetitive, but, just go with the flow. Number 2 is define happiness in your own terms.
Happiness is... Well, the first word that came to mind is security. And I don't know where... I'm kind of looking around. I want to look more at your camera. Happiness, I think, is a sense of security, at least for me. I like the stability, that happiness. When I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling stable. I feel... Well, let me tell you this story. When I was younger, soon out of college, what I used to do when I felt like my life was getting out of control, I called it my poor man's therapy. What I would do is I would do all my laundry, and I would go to the grocery store. Because having those two things, I felt like my bases were covered. I would be able to eat healthy food for the week. I wouldn't have to, eat food out of a vending machine during lunchtime, and I wouldn't have to be scrounging around in the morning before going to work. So that really provided a sense of security, and things started to go better, when I had that good foundation. So I guess the question was happiness, and I started talking about something else. But
that's okay.
Am I going on too long?
No, that's okay.
And also, on this subject, I think it's easy to confuse, and I am certainly guilty of it, confusing happiness with having fun. Because they really are two different things. Happiness very often involves having fun, but not all the time.
All right. Sounds good. No, that's awesome. Number 3 is define unsuccessfulness in your own terms.
Unsuccessfulness. I guess there's lots of ways to feel unsuccessful. Being unsuccessful is... Well, I guess what I'm thinking of right now is I feel unsuccessful when I disappoint myself. Like when I know I don't try as hard as I can, or when I don't do things that I know I could do but didn't do for whatever reason. Lack of preparation, laziness. So unsuccessfulness is disappointing myself.
Okay, sounds good. Number 4 is define unhappiness in your own terms.
Define unhappiness. Well, that's hard. I never really thought about what is unhappiness, because life can throw really tragic things your way, and they can make you unhappy. And unhappiness, it's not desirable, but a coworker of mine died recently. This was something I was gotta mention. Just 2 weeks ago, a coworker of mine, 28 years old, and of course that made me really unhappy. As it made it, like everyone at the school where I work, it's just shocking and unhappy news. So how to fit that into a definition, I don't know, because sometimes it's just way beyond your control. So I don't know. Unhappiness is... There's too many things that can make one unhappy to give a definition.
All right, sounds good. And then the last question is basically, do you think there's a connection between success and happiness, and then a connection between unsuccessfulness and unhappiness?
Yes, I think there would be a connection between success and happiness. Or there could be a connection between success and happiness. But at least in my definitions of what success is, I mean, someone who tries to be successful at a career and doesn't make it might be unhappy because of that. And I could certainly understand why, and I wouldn't want to say that, if the person has a certain goal for career aspiration and they don't make it and it causes them to be unhappy, that's a legitimate way to feel. But, if, like, I think I answered wanting to be successful was trying. And if you really tried your best to have your career play out the way you want it to be, or you really try your best to have a personal relationship work out, or you really try your best to pass a college course and you don't, then you got to pat yourself on the back and be proud and happy that you tried the best you could, because there's so many circumstances. Happiness and success there's so many factors that are beyond one's control to contribute to that. And if you only look at the outcome of what you're trying to do in life, it could be very disappointing. It's like the process of trying to be happy, trying to meet your goals, trying to do what you want to do. If you're trying to be happy, you may never get there, but trying will get you closer. Maybe that was a cyclical, nonsensical argument, but the process of trying to be happy is the first. You have to want to be happy to do it, to become happy.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike, for your participation in this documentary about success and happiness.
Thank you very much, Matt. I wish success and happiness to you and to all the viewers of this film.
Oh, thanks. Please state your name.
Michael Piscitelli.
All right, this is a documentary about happiness and success. The first question is, how would you define success in your own terms?
Success would be having, your own place, paid off, probably, your car paid off, just, that financial level where, you're comfortable with everything, and, bills and stuff aren't there because, for everybody, it's just paying these monthly cycle of bills. Whether we have the money or not, I mean, it's just, that's how it just rolls. So
awesome.
It's just not having to worry about that.
Gotcha.
Just spending.
Gotcha. Cool. Question number 2 is define happiness in your own terms.
Once again, I would just easily describe it as, the Friday night feeling and the Sunday night feeling. What in your life, every night should feel like a Friday night to you, because the only thing in your life that is making you down is, what Friday night at 7 o'clock, the only difference between that and Sunday night at 7 o'clock is 48 hours, but you're so happy on a Friday night and you're so pissed off on a Sunday night that, you want every night to be a Friday night. So that's that.
That's awesome. Question number 3 is define unsuccessfulness in your own terms.
That's a good question because, unsuccessfulness, you immediately think somebody who can't pay their bills. But, then, you look at people, you're like, this person is a successful person. Maybe they just haven't had their break. And they're struggling to pay bills, but, then they're going to turn around. Then they will be a successful person. It's basically probably waiting for people to get to that level because everyone, with enough effort, you can rise to anything. Honestly, just give 100%. So an unsuccessful person, I would say just isn't giving enough effort to be successful.
Awesome. Question number 4 is define unhappiness in your own terms. We can skip the question too if you really don't have an answer.
No,
But if you do have an answer, I'm not trying to put you on the clock. I just don't have that much.
It's just that's just probably just not being where you want to be in your life because that's what drives you to do more though. Like I just said before, if you're not happy, you're gonna do what you can. If you have the motivation to be this successful person.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay, and then the last question is basically, do you think there's a connection between happiness and success and unhappiness and unsuccessfulness?
Absolutely, because you need to be happy to give you that motivation, obviously, to get to that step. And if you keep on down spiraling, you're going to fall off the face of the earth and be homeless. But then there's that other fight where you're going to keep going. So yeah, you're happy, you're going to keep working, you're going to succeed. You're sad, you can't get that picked up in your brain. This is going to be defeat.
That's awesome. All right, thank you, Michael Piscitelli, for participating in this documentary on success and happiness.
No problem, dude.
I just need you to please state your name.
I'm Chris Dunn.
All right, thanks, Chris Dunn. First question I'm going to ask you is if you can define success in your own terms.
My own terms? Success to me in my own terms would probably mean just whether I'm happy, if I'm, touring with a band and making music, and that would be success to me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, question number 2 is define happiness in your own terms.
Happiness is doing exactly what I want to do. I mean, I'd rather be happy living in a rundown apartment in Gary, Indiana than being rich and really depressed.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay, question number 3 is define unsuccessfulness in your own terms.
Unsuccessfulness. Probably just, if I was going down the wrong path of, trying to do something that somebody else, wanted me to do, and, because if you're just going by other people's standards, then I don't know. Cut that, man.
No, that's all good. That's good enough. Seriously, I just need an answer. All right, question 4 is define unhappiness in your own terms.
Probably just... the same as before. I mean, if you're going off of other people's standards and just doing that, it's not going to work. Yeah, let me do that one. I'm sorry. I have the same answer for both questions.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'm just looking for results.
Yeah.
And then the last question I'm going to ask you is basically, do you find a connection between success and happiness and unsuccessfulness and unhappiness?
I guess so. I mean, when you're successful, obviously, what you want to do, you're obviously happy. I guess if you're successful at something you don't want to do, you can still, be unhappy. I mean,
Gotcha. All right, well, thank you, Mr. Chris Dunn. I really appreciate your input. And this will be used in a documentary on happiness and success. Awesome. You are free to go now. Please just state your name.
I'm Chris Bidwell.
Thank you. First question is, define success in your own terms.
Success is being happy with whatever you're doing to sustain a living.
Okay.
Be success in my
terms. Question 2 is, define happiness in your own terms.
I define happiness and success as the same thing.
Okay.
I don't think you can be happy and not successful. At least, if you hate your job or if you hate whatever you're doing to make money, then you're not going to be happy.
Okay.
And you're not going to be successful either.
All right. Question 3 is, define unsuccessfulness in your own terms.
Well, unsuccessful would be the opposite of successfulness, where you despise your job or whatever you do, whatever you need to do to make a living. I think anything that you can do in your free time is bonus. But if you like what you're doing with your life, as far as whatever it takes to pay the bills, then you're happy, you're successful. If you're not, then you're unsuccessful. Even if you're making a lot of money, you're still hating what you're doing 2/3 of your awake life. So.
Gotcha. All right. Question 4 is, define unhappiness in your own terms.
Unhappiness would be being unsuccessful.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And then question 5 is basically, do you think there's a connection between success and happiness, and then unsuccessfulness and unhappiness?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think you can be successful in my terms is being happy with what you do to pay the bills. And if you're not happy with your job, then you're not successful. All you can do is be happy in your free time.
Gotcha.
And that's not true happiness. You have to be happy all the time, or at least when there's no serious issues or problems with whatever your situation is. But if you don't like your job, if you're not successful in your job, if you don't feel like you're making what you're worth, if you're not if you wake up every Monday and you hate what you're doing, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be successful. You're not going to strive to do what you need to do. And I think there's a very, very direct link between being successful and happy.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chris Bedwell. This will be used in a documentary about happiness and success. Thanks a lot.